a special edition of the Maize and Blue Reviews. Good afternoon, Michigan football. Special a couple ways. Special because we have former Wolverine Jerry Diorio, who is on the show on this Friday. Great to see you, Jerry. How are you?
Great to be a Michigan Wolverine, Denny.
Yeah, hey, in Michigan playing at Illinois tomorrow. We're going to talk all about that. Also special because we usually are live at 2 o'clock, but we decided to kick this one off at noon because Jerry's got a huge football game today, but also Michigan basketball has their media day, and I'm going to be heading down there to watch them scrimmage. So, and then be able to talk to some of the players afterwards, and I just was not going to be able to do that if we did it at 2 o'clock. So we have moved it up. That's why we're doing what we're doing. I just added that about the big game for you tonight, Jerry, but you did tell me you had a big game tonight. So good luck.
Yeah, thank you, Denny. You know, Denny, I'm really looking forward to hearing what you got to say about what you have to say about the basketball team and how they're looking. I really have great expectations. I'm really jacked up. Love the coaching hire. I think he's done some really nice things in the transfer portal this year to get some players in. So really looking forward to your reporting on that one.
Well, thanks. You know, they look like they've got some good stuff going on the recruiting front. They've got the scrimmage today. They've got an exhibition coming up on Sunday down in Detroit. And then before long, they will be into it. I have just been waiting and, concentrating on football, but now I'm jumping in with both feet and on the hardwood. Can't wait for basketball. The seasons change, and now we're ready for some of these winter sports. I'm ready for that. Well, we're always ready for football, and we'll have some tomorrow at 3:30 in Champaign. We'll go over some of the numbers, what Jerry has looked at, what I'm looking at, as we are a little bit over 24 hours till they kick off over there. Jerry has put some plays from whether Illinois, what to look for, Michigan-wise, but let's just start talking about this game tomorrow. Jerry, I've watched Illinois play a couple times. I didn't see anything in their non-conference. I thought that this was a good win when they beat Kansas, who was a top 25 team at the time, but Kansas is 1-5. So that doesn't look as good, obviously. This game at Nebraska only has one loss on the season, and it was to Illinois on a Friday night in
Penn State, you mean, Denny?
No, I'm looking up at the top. The Nebraska only has one loss on the year.
Oh, okay, Nebraska, yes.
Yeah, I was starting out right at the top there. Nebraska just with one loss, and it was to Illinois. That was a Friday night game. I watched that. Illinois was getting, double-digit points in that game and shocked Nebraska. That game against Penn State that you're talking about, I watched the first half. Illinois was right there. They had the ball down. They had not just red zone issues. There was some goal line issues against the Nittany Lions. That game was a little bit closer, even though 21-7, you say it was close anyways. They had their chances in Happy Valley. And then last week, I didn't watch any of the game, but I picked Illinois minus 22.5, and it was 27-3. I checked my phone early in the third quarter, and I said, I'm ready to cash this ticket.
Yeah.
And obviously Purdue, behind their first-time starter, a redshirt freshman, came all the way back and tied it and got into overtime before losing by 1 point. So there we are. I don't know, Jerry, what do you think of this matchup? Michigan is started as a 3-point favorite. They are now a 3.5-point favorite.
Well, Denny, I like this matchup. Illinois is a good team. There's no question about it. They're very physical. Bielema brings that physicality to their program. They're going to want to run the ball. They're going to want to establish the run. They're going to, what's surprising to me about this Illinois team is that they're not more highly ranked versus the run. Usually when you see a good run team, you see a good defensive team against the run. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're like, what are they? 12th in the 15th in the Big Ten, Denny, giving up 150 yards a game. So that's a good matchup for us. That's our strength, is rushing the ball and playing on the road. Run teams Run teams travel well, and so do defenses. So, Denny, listen, I've been pretty critical on Michigan and the coaching staff, especially during those two losses. But here's the second half of the season. Everything is still in front of us. This is a huge game. If we beat Illinois, we got Oregon coming back. You just saw what Oregon did to Ohio State. It is very difficult to go to the West Coast from the East Coast and vice versa. I think the only team that's won on the road in those circumstances is Penn State against USC in the Coliseum. Other than that, if we can get this victory against Illinois, we have our entire season in front of us, and we can do what we want.
Yeah. When I look at Illinois and Michigan, they remind me a little bit of each other in that both teams just went over some of the, last week. Illinois was really good in the first half. And Michigan has played, they were really good in the first half against Minnesota and USC in back-to-back games, pretty good against Arkansas State and in their opener in the first half. And then they were pretty good in the second half against Washington. I don't know, however you want to look at it at Washington. They came on, they had 2 scoring drives late in there. But the point here is I haven't seen either team really put together a full game. And that's what there's some intrigue here for Michigan. They have a Jack Tuttle, another starter, going to make his first start at Michigan. And then neither of these teams have put together a full 4 quarters. So, trying to pin this one down saying, this is what Michigan does and this is what they're going to do. Who knows? I hope they have a modest passing game. That's nice that Illinois, that they might be able to run. And Michigan will just keep running until we know that, until Illinois stops them. But you can't have the worst passing attack in the Big Ten, which statistically Michigan does. Actually, they have the worst one in the country. So yes. I'm just looking to be a little encouraged with Tuttle under center. He doesn't have to play perfect. It doesn't mean he can't turn it over. I don't think he can have multiple turnovers, but let's see a modest performance by the quarterback.
Denny, that you hit the nail on the head. It's all about turnovers. First of all, I want to say this. There is a huge amount of parity. It looks like not only in the Big Ten, but throughout college football. It's just very difficult to go on the road and win anymore, especially when you're traveling great distances. And so there's a lot of parity, and there's a lot of season left. There's nobody punching their tickets right now saying we're going there and we're going here. And no, there's a lot of season left. We're halfway through it, and a lot of football left to play. A lot of things going to happen in the next 6-7 weeks. That's making up for a very exciting football season, and that's part of the reason I like this structure so much. I wasn't crazy about SC, UCLA, Washington, and Oregon coming in. But I can see some of the benefits, especially with this excitement in the football schedule, and how you are never in a comfortable situation.
Yeah, I don't like how Michigan has played this year. I'm with you, but as far as the college football season and Michigan in the Big Ten with all those West Coast teams now in there, I love it. It's like it's like a bowl season every week, and it's gonna. In the early going, we kind of got it because we're used to non-conference, the first 3 games getting that. Sometimes they push Michigan a few years ago, had Notre Dame like in the middle of the season. But for the most part, you're getting into the conference season and you're used to it. Even if you like, ribs, hamburgers, and pizza, if that's what you're, eating for 25 years straight, and then somebody – slides some sea bass in there, it's pretty wild. And so that's the way I'm looking at it. It's a lot of fun, Jerry, all of this. And even in the SEC with bringing in Oklahoma and Texas. And they got Texas that, they're playing tomorrow against Georgia. That's great. I love it. Now, it would be – I'd love it more if Michigan, was in the mix. But they've got to win this game tomorrow. If they feel like they can, get some momentum, then it feels like they might be able to get some momentum by possibly downing Michigan State, and then we can start talking about, hey, what if But I think the first what if is this hurdle tomorrow in Champaign. They got to win this.
This is a huge game for both teams. Illinois sitting there saying, "Hey, we hold our own destiny. We could be playing for a playoff spot." So turnovers is going to be key. If we can control our turnovers, try to get that crowd out of it, and control the ball, control the time of possession a little bit, I think we're in real good shape. Again, when I was first looking at this Illinois team, I was very surprised that their defense was not as good as I thought it would be. I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, they were 8th in the country in scoring defense. Now, all of a sudden, they're like 15th in the Big Ten in scoring defense, giving up over 20 points a game. So, it goes back to what you were saying earlier, Denny, that their schedule – it looked like they were going to play Kansas, and that was a big game, and that was a tough game, and Kansas ends up being 1-5 at this point in time. So they struggled against Purdue and played well against Penn State, but still came up short. Huge game. Both teams have their entire season in front of them. Their destiny is in their own hands. That's where you want to be. And big game tomorrow. Huge game.
Yeah, Illinois' quarterback, Altmaier, he wasn't all that hot last year, but he's made big-time improvements this year, and they look like they've got some pretty good wide receivers from watching them in those 2 games that I talked about, Nebraska and Penn State. Now, getting back to Michigan just for one thing, when it comes down to the turnovers, they know it. It's what everyone's talking about when you turn it over like they did, and you got a merry-go-round at quarterback, and there's so much focus on it. You understand that as a player that you have to forget pretty quick. You have one play, and if it's bad, you got to erase that memory and get ready to play. But because everyone is harping on the turnovers and the quarterback position, I think you just saw it. And I think everyone felt it at Washington when Tuttle came in. It came in, Michigan had a touchdown. He threw one pass in that touchdown drive where Donovan Edwards ran it. Then they got a field goal. Then they came out in the second half and had a touchdown. It was like, it was beautiful. Everybody felt the momentum and everything. And then, you had the 3 and outs and the turnovers, and it was kind of like, back to the same old. I say all that because if Michigan has a turnover, and it can happen in a game, it happens all the time. But for this team, I think the psyche, it'd be really big for them to have a clean game or certainly have a lead, because man, that's going to be a turnover and a switch like that. It's big anyways, even if you train your guys and talk about momentum. But for Michigan, everybody's going to look at them and say, "Oh, now they don't have any quarterback. Now they're done." So it's a huge thing if it happens. You hope it doesn't happen, that they're going to have to overcome if they turn the ball over in tomorrow's game.
On the other hand, Denny, we have to create turnovers ourselves. Our defense has got to come up with some turnovers. You're looking at the numbers, and statistically, we're nowhere near where we were last year.
No.
Points allowed, rushing. The rushing defense has been decent. I think it's ranked 3rd in the Big Ten, and we've gone against some pretty good teams. Pass defense has been a real Achilles heel. Yes. We need to create some turnovers as well. And we're doing a pretty decent job. We've got a couple kids, Johnson, I believe Makari Page has got multiple interceptions as well. Barry has gotten a couple forced fumbles. So, that's going to be a huge part of tomorrow's game. Who's going to secure the ball and the least amount of mistakes?
I'm there. And having said all of that, Jerry, I look at this game. I made my prediction. It is over on the Maize and Blue review, along with some of the other staff members. You can see those on Friday. And hey, you want to see that in real time and get in with all of the other bonuses that you get by being a member of the Maize and Blue review. You can get full access today by going to michigan.rivals.com. We would love to see you over there. I made my prediction as 30-27 with Michigan as the winner with a Dominic Zavada kick at the buzzer to get specific. So a real thriller with Michigan coming out on top and prevailing by 3 points. How do you see the game, Jerry?
Well, I like that prediction, Denny, because you're basically saying that Tuttle is going to give Michigan about 7 to 10 points more than what we're used to this season. So if Tuttle can bring an extra touchdown, I think, we should feel real good. Illinois is coming off a tough game. I mean, they played Purdue. They had to play 4.5 quarters. You know, their starters were in there for 4.5 quarters. So, that's and we're coming off a bye. So, really, the advantage of their home field is really negated by our bye, and we should be feeling good about that situation.
Well, you feel good if they are able to get the win, because then you're staring at the rest of the schedule. However you feel about rivalry games and Michigan State at night. You already mentioned Oregon. Indiana's undefeated, which is pretty wild to say. Northwestern.
On top of everything, too, Denny. They are statistically basically on top of everything on offense. Yeah. I think they're on top on some categories on defense as well. So
they are. Now, you could look at their schedule and say, well, have they really – but, at this point, I mean, when you're halfway through the season –
doesn't matter.
Right. We'll see, and they're playing a one-loss Nebraska team. Indiana's at home. They're a 6.5-point favorite. I'm picking Nebraska in that game, so we'll see.
I think I think that's a good pick too, Denny. I think Nebraska, but again, this home field advantage is really throwing some monkey wrenches in there. But I like that Nebraska quarterback. He's very good, and they've got some weapons to go around them. And I'll tell you what, Denny, that defensive line at Nebraska, those two interiors are studs. They are difficult to run against, and that's going to be a real test for Indiana.
Jerry, any thoughts about Champaign Urbana as a player? Have you gone over there?
Hate it. Hate it, Denny. Okay.
Oh. Okay. Why? Why do you hate it?
Well, my junior year, we went in there and beat Illinois in Champaign and ended up being the Big Ten champions and went to the Rose Bowl. The following year, my senior year, which probably was a better team, player for player, we went into Illinois and got beat 16-6. And Illinois ended up going to the Rose Bowl, and we ended up going to the Sugar Bowl. Not even getting a piece of the Big Ten championship. Illinois won it outright, and we ended up playing Auburn in the Sugar Bowl 9-7. We lost that game, but I think Illinois got a running clock put on it. If it was a high school game, I think it was like 48-6 or something like that. They got beat by UCLA. Same old thing. The Rose Bowl brought them out there for 2 weeks, fattened them up like a turkey, and then slaughtered them.
What was Bo Jackson playing for Auburn in that game?
Bo Jackson was playing for Auburn. Denny, it was one of the great defenses, game plans and performances I had seen ever. That was Scar was huge in that game. I think he forced a fumble on a punt in that game. But our defense played outstanding. Bo Jackson never crossed the goal line. We got beat by El Greco's 3 field goals, 9-7.
Del Greco.
And Triando Marcre stepped out of bounds as the clock hit 0. And we lost on the last play of the game, but in the Sugar Bowl. But no, I hated Illinois. I hated it. Crowd is they're not right on you. That was the nice thing. If I remember correctly, the crowd wasn't right on you, but it can get hostile. It can get to be a hostile place.
I went there once. It was Drew Henson's first ever start for Michigan, and Henson was great in that game. He's throwing bombs to David Terrell, Michigan with a huge win. It was pretty awesome. I remember walking up and looking at, I think it's called Memorial Stadium. Who knows what it's called now, but it's a pretty cool looking place from the outside. But when you get in there, it's nothing special like what you're talking about. So, and the press box wasn't anything special either. Nobody cares about that. All right, Jerry, you want to look at some things that –
I just got a couple plays real quick, Danny. We're going to take a look at just a couple things to just see what their linebackers are reading, what probably what the Michigan coaches are looking at and game planning around. This is a very good team. This is a very physical team, and they can play. And they've got some real good offensive weapons, and it's going to be a heck of a matchup. Okay, so here we are. All right, now this is number 28, Dylan Rosiak. I think he's the leader of their team. He's their pretty much their Mike linebacker. He's the second leading tackler on their team. Now, if I'm watching this film as a coach, I'm trying to see, and this is a great play here to tell me what the linebackers are looking at. Denny, the T formation teams in high school, and I know I keep going back to it, but just give you some perspective. T teams in high school will always false pull early in the game just to see what your linebackers are looking at. And this play right here shows the offensive line going to the right. And let's take a look at this play. Let's see what happens here. The offensive line's going to the right. Where's that linebacker step? He's going with it. So now I got a feeling that linebacker is keying this guard through to this back. By this one play, by pulling this way and coming back this way, I can tell now I got an idea that their linebacker is reading guard. Why is that important? Because now I can see what my influence pulls are going to do to this linebacker and how we're going to be able to get our guys out in space. Does that make sense to you, Denny?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So there, that's why you run those types of plays to see what the keys are for the linebackers, and that way you can start really game planning. There's a lot of game planning that goes on during the game. Everybody thinks all the game planning is done before the game, and yeah, most of it is. But when you get to the game, you're not completely sure what they're keying or where they're going to line or how they're going to line to stop you. And so during the game, that's when you make those adjustments, and that's a huge way to be able to do this. Here's another example of this, Denny. Here you have, we used to call this diamond or inverted bone. Do you see the inverted wishbone here?
Yes, I do. Okay.
All right, great formation. And the reason is because you can go both ways with your run game. You got lead blockers for your quarterback if you had to, and it's hard to line up to. Here you go. Purdue is sitting here with 5.5 versus 5 on the boundary side. So let's count them. 1, 2, 3 with the guard, 4 with the halfback. Remember, we count these guys as half. The center is a half, the quarterback is a half, and the running back is a half. So you got 5.5 on this side. What does Illinois have? They only have the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. He is on the opposite side of the center. So now I'm lined up, and I can see that I've got numbers over here. Watch what I get out of this play. By both running backs going here, that tells me what these linebackers are reading. And by the way, now we're going to pull away from the running back flow, and we're going to be able to create numbers. And that's what Purdue did to them right there. They basically said, okay, we're going to find out what you're keying. And here are those linebackers. You see these two linebackers right here, Denny? These two guys right here? Watch them key the backs and mirror the backs' movement. You see it?
Yep.
And then you got the other side with the guard tackle pull. You're basically replacing 2 with 2. The guard kicks out. The other thing I see on this play, especially if I'm Michigan, this guy right here is not playing real hard hands-on. You know what I'm saying, Denny? In other words, this tackle is able to get down on this linebacker very easily. Does that make sense? And this guy is not spilling the play. He's not trying to force this play to bounce and go outside. So what happens is the Purdue guard gets inside and kicks him out. Not a particularly great angle, but the way this outside line defensive end is playing, It gives the offensive guard a great opportunity to kick out and a hole for this backside tackle to get up in through to pick up the linebackers. And that's what happens. The defensive end gets kicked out, and the tackle gets up inside there. The two backs go away. The tailback is right down the midline, and he gets to pick his way. And he picks it right down the gut, the straightest point with two paths.
They don't clean that up. So, Donovan Edwards will take that to the house from anywhere on the field, maybe Mullings too.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Denny. This right here is so key. I know right now that I can kick this guy out. I'm running power. I'm running counter until they stop, because I don't think they're going to be able to stop. See how fresh this guy is coming down? He is not even touched. He's not off his path, and he's on the linebackers. One thing defensive coordinators don't want to see is offensive linemen with clean shots on linebackers. And that's why this technique right here, questionable. He's not getting his hands on. He's not spilling it, and the linebacker can't climb, and they get right down the gut. And you're right. That's part of our strength. That's what we have to do against Illinois this week. Okay? That's one of their leading tacklers for tackles for loss. Not 23, but number 9. Defenses, this defense can be it can be scored on. It can be run on. All right, this quarterback is real good. Altmaier. Here he is, Denny. This guy he's averaging what, 280 or 270 yards in the air per game, something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Let me see what the stats are here, real quick. And he's I think he's rushing for 40 yards a game. 67% over 1,400 yards, passed for 369 against Purdue. Second leading rusher on the team. So this is going to be a real challenge for our defense to be able to make sure that this guy is checked and we can take it. That's a heck of an improv route move right there. I mean, he's drawing that defense up last second, throws the ball, big play for him. So this quarterback is very good. They seem to like this bender play on the goal line, Denny. That's why I was wondering. I didn't get the chance to see the Penn State-Illinois game, but Illinois and Bielema's strength has always been in the red zone and finishing drives and putting it in the end zone. And that was kind of surprising to hear that Penn State kept them out with favorable position. But here it is. All this is inside zone, and the running back is just going to bend it back to where the hole opens up. Linebacker doesn't get in to fill, and the running back fills it right behind him. He overscrapes it, touchdown. So, and their best running back did not play against Purdue. Their leading running back did not play against Purdue. Big play there. That's their leading receiver right there. And here's another big play.
I like the receiver.
I don't know how this kid held on to the ball, but this was a huge play in the game. I don't understand. I'd like to see the replay on that one. I mean, multiple angles on this one. That's surprising he held on to the ball. That was a heck of a play by him. This quarterback is good.
So are their receivers.
And so are their receivers, yep. And like I said, this is their leader, Dylan Rosiak. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. Here he is right here, linebacker. He's second leading tackler on the team, but he seems to always be around the ball. And so we're going to have our eyes on him as well.
Yeah, let's block him.
That's all I got, Denny.
Well, Jerry, I'm going to tell you this. That was good stuff looking at all of that. I got to tell you that, Illinois or, running that bend play down there, if Michigan loses, I'll be going on a bender, tomorrow. If things don't work out well. So that's the way it goes. Hey, great stuff, Jerry. Enjoy the game tomorrow, and good luck tonight in your game.
Hail to the victors, Denny. Yeah, we got to get a couple victories tonight and tomorrow. Yes, big time. Big weekend for football.
I like
Midway point, baby.
Thanks for joining us. Smash that like button. We'll talk with you after the game tomorrow on the Michigan Post Game Live. Everybody have themselves a great weekend. See ya.
Have a good